What is poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're taking a look at another film review. Today we're taking a look at Sinners, which is a new vampire movie starring Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, and a couple of other brilliant actors. And it is set in, I want to say, really, early, 1990s, really late 1980s America. I could be wrong with the time period, but that's the vibe I'm getting, with it being just the way they dress and the themes that this movie does tackle. So, without any further delay, I think it is best for us to head into what Google has to say before we get into my thoughts and opinions on this movie. So, this is a 2025 horror movie which is 2 hours and 15 minutes long, which I feel like is, I'm going to say half an hour too long. Just because the pacing is a little whack, but again, we'll get onto that a little bit later. And it has a 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb, a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 4.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. You can watch this exclusively in cinemas or on Google Play. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their Mississippi hometown to start again, only to discover that an enemy greater than what the fuck, then even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. So, how it starts off is with Smoke and Stack. Smoke and Stack are two twins. One has a blue hat and one has a red hat. That is how you differentiate them. They are both played by Michael B. Jordan. The red hat one, which I do believe is Smoke, I do forget their names, I'm going to be honest. They're played by the same person, so it's really fucking hard to tell them apart. It's literally just the colours of their hat, which is how you tell them apart. Also, their personality. The red hat one is like the silly, goofy, comedic relief, the out there one who's quite, hyperactive, and then the blue hat one is a lot more serious, locked in, and gets the job done. So they split up at the start of the movie. One goes around collecting a load of their old friends to perform at this new bar that they've just purchased, because they have made a barn and they're turning it into their own little disco place, their own little nightclub. And the other one is sorting out drinks, his relationship, and basically everything else he can get sorted with money and how financially it can work out. They then go to that nightclub, have a little bit of a good time, a little bit of a boogie, a little bit of a dance, and everything is going well, everybody's enjoying themselves, everything's going fine and dandy, until 3 people show up with, banjos and crap, and hey, we wanna come in, and they're like, no white people allowed, and then they're like, hey, how come Haley Steinfeld's there? And they're like, she's family, and then they go off on their road, they keep going. Then Haley Steinfeld goes after them. She gets bitten because they're vampires, and then she comes back in. She gets invited in. She gets let in, and then she eats the red hat guy. I think it's Smoke. And then he turns into a vampire, and then someone goes for a piss and gets eaten, turned into a vampire. So then, Stack is like, hey, nah. Everybody needs to go the fuck home. Shit's going down. My brother just died. They all get eaten outside, so that leaves the final 5, which is the banjo player, or the musician. I think it's a banjo. I'm not good with instruments. The musician who can summon the past, future, and present with his musician skills, which is a really weird fucking power, not gonna lie. But anyway, he can do that. And then we have basically everyone getting picked off one by one. Until it's just the banjo player and Stack left. They kill the main vampire, which kills all the other vampires, and the banjo player then goes back to his father, and he gets invited into the church, where I do believe he doesn't actually turn into a vampire like I expected him to. I expected that to be a plot twist because he got invited into the church and he didn't enter until he was invited in. So that definitely gave us a sense of him being a vampire, but it was a fake out and he did survive and he went on to be a great musician in this series. And then I do believe Stack killed the KKK who actually sold him this barn and came to kill everybody that was in this barn, because they were selling them the barn. Their plan was to sell the barn to Smoke and Stack so that they could go the next morning and kill them all. But Stack worked that out and killed them all, like an absolute fucking legend he is. And then I'm pretty sure he died as well at the end due to his gunshot wound because he was talking to his dead wife, who was unfortunately killed by the vampires. So, my only issue with this movie is the pacing. I did not like the pacing. The pacing at the start was so slow, introducing us to the characters, going around collecting them, but we've never seen these guys together prior to collecting these characters, so we don't know what history they have, we don't know how they're connected, we just get a load of monologuing and a load of basically just being told, oh yeah, remember this, the good old days, remember when we used to do this, remember when we used to do that, remember when we used to be together. And it's like, dog, we saw none of this. We have no emotional connection to these characters, we have no emotional value to this friendship that you have. We're just being told that this friendship exists. Fair enough, you can sort of see that they are friends with how they talk to each other, how they interact, the jokes that they do. They have a good little bit of banter between each other and they have a good vibe, but other than that, it's I don't know this person, and you're trying to make out they are this brilliant musician that you need to have in your club. And as well with Haley Steinfeld's character, she literally just comes out of fucking nowhere. She comes off the train and she has this relationship with Smoke, I do believe, and it's a really weird one because he is trying to get away from her, but then she wants to be with him. She's given up a lot to be with him, and he just isn't reciprocating that. But then he just randomly flips the script and does start agreeing with it, and it feels so weird that she persisted to stay with him even though he was talking shit about her mum, which you don't do that. Her mum died and he's I don't care. And that was fucking wild to me. That was genuinely insane. The vampires were actually pretty cool. I liked the rules that they set. Obviously, vampires can't come in without being welcomed in. They don't like garlic. A stake through the heart can kill them. And I didn't realize vampires worked by if they sucked blood out of you, you would wake up as a vampire. I didn't realize it was an infection like that. I thought that was zombies. I thought vampires had to choose to give you their power, by biting you. I thought if they started sucking your blood, then you didn't get turned into a vampire. I thought you were just their food. So this had some unique-esque style of vampire stuff, which I wasn't too familiar in the world of horror and vampires and, crazy scenarios. But the vampire was not menacing. He sort of had a Twilight Twink aesthetic to him, where he wasn't too menacing or too evil. He didn't have a threatening presence at all. He was more of a comedic, very over-the-top presenter style vibe that he had going on. And I don't know, I just didn't feel threatened by him. I didn't feel like he was too much of a cause for concern. Obviously, it's scary being in that situation, having all your friends and family get turned into vampires because of this one dude, and everyone got picked off one by one. Also, they all shared the same memories, so every time someone got bit, everyone would unlock their memories, and I thought that was a really unique power as well. Like I said before, these vampires are different and they stand out from the usual vampire. They have a little bit more to them, which makes them stand out and gives them a little bit more personality. And I don't know, just compared to Nosferatu, which was another vampire movie which came out this year, they have very different takes on the vampire style, and I think that's very cool. I think that's really interesting, and again, it gives this movie a little bit more personality and something else to look into with its own unique world building and stuff, and the vampires, and with the time traveling music I thought was really weird, and that's why the vampire wanted him, because he could have the power to bring the past, present, and future together, and he just wanted that power for himself, so he wanted to bite him and eat him and basically make him one of us. And yeah, I was actually upset when Stack died. I'm gonna be honest. I really did like Stack. He was the comedic relief. He was the funny one, and normally I like those characters. They're my favorites. So I was quite upset that he did get killed off straight away. And Haley Steinfeld is seemed like she had a bigger presence in this movie than what she actually did. Like from the trailers and stuff, like it felt like she was going to be in it a lot more than what she was. But I just think the setup took way too long for the payoff. Like the fight was so short. Like the fight was genuinely like half an hour long. Like the final battle that had been set up this entire movie was like half an hour long, and it just felt like so. I don't know, the pacing was terrible in my opinion. Like, it was really slow burn to start with, and like, just getting into it, getting into the world. Normally stories can do that, and do it really well, but this one just took forever. I'm gonna be honest, like, it just felt like we were going to a new place to meet a new person every single, like, 10 minutes, and I'm not opposed to having a big cast of characters. Sometimes it can be done really well. It's just, it took so long to introduce them and get to the point of the story. Like, I don't think the vampires actually showed up till at least an hour 15. And if that's your big selling point for your movie, you gotta kind of stick with that and go like full head force into that. Like, the vampires kind of felt like a side plot to the barn, and like they weren't really there, if that makes sense. Like the whole A plot was getting this barn and making it the best it could be for their friends and family. Like, that was like the main plot of the movie, and I'm gonna be honest, I was here for the vampires. I was here for the vampires, and I was here for like Michael B. Jordan to absolutely fucking slay, but they did slay in the end. They did slay in the end. But it just felt like the marketing for this movie was more based around the vampires, and we didn't get that in the actual movie. So, a little disappointed. But it was still a decent movie. I didn't think it was too bad. I think it's a solid 4 out of 10. So other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this YouTube video. See you all next one. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.